What if brushing your teeth, snacking between meals, or watching TV was slowly ruining your memory? Millions of adults have to deal with memory lapses that go far beyond misplaced glasses. Some forget entire conversations. Others lose track of what they were just doing. And the strange part, many of these issues are tied to daily habits people never question. But here's the good news. Scientists have found simple, proven ways to protect your brain. In this video, we'll show you exactly what helps your memory stay strong, focused, and clear. Let's get into it. Number 10. Keep your minds busy and curious. Your brain isn't built to coast. As you get older, one of the strongest tools you have for staying sharp is something researchers call cognitive reserve. It's your brain's ability to stay functional even when physical changes, like shrinking brain volume or reduced blood flow, start to show up with age. Neuroimaging studies have found that people who engage in mentally stimulating activities have stronger connections in the prefrontal cortex and better preserved white matter, which helps different brain regions communicate. This protects memory, attention, and problem-solving skills even in the presence of age-related brain changes. And you don't need to be in school to get these benefits either. Learning a new language activates memory and auditory processing areas. Picking up a musical instrument lights up motor, auditory, and emotional centers. Even taking up a new hobby like chess, birdwatching, or digital photography challenges your working memory and visual spatial reasoning. Simple changes count. Read nonfiction, join a class online, or teach your grandchild how to cook. The goal is to keep the brain engaged in something unfamiliar, because that's what builds the wiring your future self will rely on. But your senses might influence memory even more than you realize. In fact, your nose could be playing a bigger role than you think. Number 9. Get all your senses involved. When it comes to memory, the more senses you use, the more likely your brain is to hold on to what you learned. Researchers found that when people looked at random images paired with specific smells, even without being told to remember them, they could later recall those images much more clearly. And this wasn't just a fluke. Brain scans show that the part of the brain responsible for processing smell, called the piriform cortex, lit up again when people viewed the same pictures later, even without the smell being present. Interestingly, the most vivid memories were tied to images linked with pleasant scents, suggesting that enjoyment may enhance the sensory memory effect even more. So, what does this mean for you? When you take in new information, whether it's through reading, watching, or doing, try to bring more than one sense into the process. Smell something familiar while studying. Listen to music while you learn a new task. Or physically interact with what you're working on. Because engaging your full sensory system isn't just about enjoyment. It may be the secret ingredient your brain needs to make memories stick. Next, let's talk about something that's not physical at all, but still powerful enough to shape how your memory works every day. Number 8. Believe in yourself. The way you think about aging can directly affect how well your memory holds up. Studies show that when older adults hear negative messages about memory loss, they tend to perform worse on memory tests. But when the messaging is positive, their performance improves. That's not just psychology, it's biology responding to belief. Making too many jokes about senior moments or assuming memory decline is inevitable can actually make it harder to stay mentally sharp. When people feel like they've lost control over their memory, they often stop trying to keep it strong. On the other hand, if you believe you can keep improving and act on that belief with regular mental activity, your brain is far more likely to keep working in your favor. But belief alone isn't everything. Sometimes it's the small, everyday choices that quietly drain your mental energy without you even realizing it. Number 7. Prioritize your brain use. When you stop using your mental energy to track everyday details, your brain has more fuel for memory, focus, and decision-making. That's because the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for short-term memory and attention, can only juggle a limited number of tasks at once. Constantly trying to remember small things like keys or dates increases mental load and makes it harder to retain new information. This is why cognitive offloading, or using external tools to manage routine tasks, is encouraged by neurologists. Use your phone's reminder app, keep a planner, or write lists on sticky notes. Those tools take pressure off your working memory. Assign one clear spot at home for keys, wallet, or glasses. This frees your brain to focus on more important tasks. When something is worth keeping in memory, say it aloud or write it down. Studies show that speaking information activates additional neural pathways, especially in the auditory cortex, making recall easier. Spacing matters too. Instead of cramming, space out your review sessions. Revisit after 1 hour, then again later, then the next day. This technique, called spaced repetition, is proven to strengthen long-term memory and works especially well for learning detailed or unfamiliar material. Before your next mental workout, there's one area you might not realize has a direct link to your brain's performance, and it starts in your bloodstream. Number 6. Control your cholesterol and blood pressure levels. Conditions like high cholesterol and high blood pressure do more than put your heart at risk. They also raise the chances of developing certain types of dementia. That means your memory and thinking could take a hit from problems that start in your blood vessels. Researchers have found that people who keep their cardiovascular health in good shape tend to perform better mentally as they get older. It starts with regular checkups. Your doctor can test your blood pressure, cholesterol, and glucose and help you make a plan to stay within safe levels. The Alzheimer's Association also warns that smoking and heavy drinking can raise your dementia risk too. If you smoke, quitting is one of the best steps you can take. And if you drink, moderation is key. A study found that people who drank more than 7 units of alcohol per week, or roughly 4 drinks, showed higher levels of iron in their brains. That buildup of brain iron has been linked to poorer cognitive function over time. While what you eat and drink plays a huge role in how your brain ages, there's another part of your life that doesn't get talked about nearly as often. It includes connection, chemistry, and a surprising boost for your memory. Number 5. A healthy sex life. Sexual activity, in whatever way feels right for you, can continue to be a positive part of life as you age. In fact, research published in 2017 found that adults between the ages of 50 and 83 who were sexually active at least once a week performed better on certain tests of brain function. The researchers suggested that sex may boost the release of brain chemicals that support memory, attention, and problem solving. They also noted that people who are regularly intimate often stay physically, mentally, and socially engaged in other areas of life, which may offer additional protection for the brain. More recently, a separate study found that married older adults who reported feeling more satisfied with their sex lives were less likely to develop mild cognitive impairment or dementia over the next decade. Pleasure and connection might stimulate your brain in the moment, but what if you could physically reshape it over time? Number 4. Exercise. If there's any real version of a fountain of youth, regular exercise comes pretty close. It does more than just improve physical health. It has a direct impact on the brain as well. Exercise increases the size of important brain regions. It improves blood circulation and strengthens communication between different areas of the brain, which helps brain cells work more efficiently. What's especially promising is that the areas of the brain that typically shrink with age are the same ones that tend to grow with regular physical activity. In this way, exercise may actually help reverse some of the effects of aging in the brain. Exercise also helps the brain by boosting levels of a chemical called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. This substance supports the health and survival of brain cells. But what you do after the exercise matters just as much, because while you're resting, your brain might be doing its most important cleanup work. Number 3. Getting enough sleep. Sleep is a major player when it comes to brain health. It affects how brain cells communicate, helps form and maintain neural pathways, and supports the entire body. But it's not just about quantity. The quality of your sleep matters just as much. Deep, uninterrupted sleep is what truly supports brain function. Lack of sleep or constant disruption has been linked to a smaller hippocampus, thinning of the cerebral cortex, and a reduced ability to generate new brain cells. These changes directly impact memory and learning. One of the most important discoveries in recent research is that sleep works like a rinse cycle. During deep sleep, cerebrospinal fluid flows from the brain and clears out toxic waste, including beta amyloid and other substances tied to Alzheimer's disease. That may explain why poor sleep over time increases the risk of dementia. In one study, adults over 65 who slept fewer than 5 hours per night were more than twice as likely to develop dementia within 5 years. They were also 2.4 times more likely to die from any cause during that time. Another long-term study found that people who got less than 6 hours of sleep at age 50, 60, and 70 had a 30% higher risk of dementia later on, even after adjusting for other factors. Although sleep can only do so much if your body is dealing with deeper, ongoing issues. Number 2. Manage chronic health. Staying on top of medical conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, depression, hearing loss, and obesity can make a real difference in memory and cognitive function. Some medications may also affect memory, so it's important to regularly review them with your doctor. Depression is linked to lower levels of BDNF, increased inflammation, and damage to white matter, which normally helps nerve signals travel efficiently across brain regions. These overlapping effects may explain why depression and aging both contribute to cognitive decline. Studies have shown that older adults with depression tend to experience more brain volume loss than either younger adults with depression or older adults without it. A history of depression, especially repeated episodes, is associated with a higher risk of developing dementia. Neuroimaging has revealed that older adults with depression often face more cognitive difficulties than younger individuals. They may struggle with memory, attention, mental processing speed, and daily activities like managing appointments or household tasks. Meanwhile, there's another factor that feeds mood and memory, quite literally. What you put on your plate might be shaping your brain more than you realize. Number 1. Maintaining a healthy diet. What you eat plays a major role in how well your brain functions. Nutrients like vitamin E, B vitamins, and omega-3 fatty acids have been linked to better memory and thinking. On the other hand, diets high in saturated fats may harm certain brain functions. Research supports diets rich in vegetables, berries, and seafood. The Mediterranean diet focuses on vegetables, healthy fats like olive oil, and fish rich in omega-3s. The DASH diet emphasizes fruits, vegetables, low-fat dairy, whole grains, and lean protein. A newer approach, the MIND diet, combines elements of both to better support brain health. It encourages 9 food groups: leafy greens, other vegetables, nuts, berries, beans, whole grains, fish, poultry, and olive oil. It also advises cutting back on red meats, butter, cheese, sweets, and fried or fast food. Studies suggest this diet may reduce the risk of cognitive decline and support long-term brain health. So, if you've ever caught yourself wondering why your memory feels a little slower or why focus takes more effort than it used to, now you know where to start. Which of these changes are you already doing? And which ones are you planning to try next? Let us know in the comments below. We love to hear how you're keeping your mind sharp.